a brief, supposed to be a brief speech by the president. So Thomas, please, would you like to give us the speech?
Yeah, thank you very much, Brenda. And I also started the recording so people can watch it back. So yeah, IAAS is the biggest association in the field of agriculture, connecting students across the globe. And as part of our activities, we have a lot of global projects. And I'm very happy that around 5 years ago, students inside IAAS during the World Congress in Indonesia put women in agriculture on the agenda inside our association. And with the creation of this global project, more awareness has been created on the difficulties women are often facing in rural communities in agriculture, but also in the rest of society and also in our association. And I think there is still a lot of work to do, and therefore I'm also happy that this is the first time we will have a competition inside IAAS with a prize pot of 1,900 euros to invest in new projects around women in agriculture. And although it may not be our most popular project, I think it's very good that we have this competition, because it should be our most popular project. And we should all think how we can include this dimension in our projects all across the globe. Because what I've often seen in earlier competitions is that when we ask participants, what is your project contributing to improving the situation of women, there are not the most comprehensive answers. And therefore, I think it's very good to create this kind of workshops and to create this awareness among our members, to really start thinking about ways they can make an impact in their communities. Therefore, I'm also very happy that today, via the Ban Ki-moon Center, we got in touch with two inspiring people, Ormil and Balikes, who are working on these kind of projects, and happy to hear later today what they are working on. And I hope we can share their stories also with many of our members, maybe not here live today, but via the recording shared later with them, to create more awareness and more impacts in the 50 countries where IAAS is active. So thanks a lot, Brenda, for making this possible today. And we can continue with the rest of the program.
Thank you, Thomas. Thank you. Do you mind putting up the profile? I would like to introduce the first speaker of today's event.
Yes. Let me see. You mean the Google Docs?
Yes, you can have that up.
Let me see. You see it?
Yeah. It isn't so clear, but I would read it from my own end, so I think others can follow. Okay, our first speaker for today is Omil Maganga. Sorry if I don't pronounce it properly. Omil Maganga is a sustainable development professional driven to innovate and lead initiatives that empower women in DRC, the Republic of Congo conflict zones, through education, advocacy, and resilient agricultural practices. She holds a master's degree in molecular biology at the University of Kansas and an advanced diploma in accounting of greenhouse gases for energy projects at Greenhouse Management Institute, USA. Working as National Project Coordinator at the Congo Greens, Omil is committed to creating impact opportunities for women to losing the gap of gender inequality to achieve social inclusion. You have the floor, Ms. Omil.
Yes, thank you, Brenda. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to my presentation. I think you all speak everything about me. I just started with sharing my screen and wait, please.
Meet your co-host, so you should be able to do it now.
Okay. Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can.
Yes, we are. Yeah.
Okay. Yes, I have entitled my presentation on the road. Wait. The road to losing the gender gap in agriculture. So I was asked, has a student actions to empower women in agriculture? Wait, please. Let's check this out. Yes. So I found out that the first tool is to educate yourself. That's the first weapon that you can use to empower women. You should have information. The second one is to connect with organization. Put in mind that you are not the first or the last in this industry of women empowerment. There's still many organizations working on that. So get perspective, insight from them. Advocate for change. Here is about using your voice to raise awareness about the importance of empowering women in agriculture. Develop skills, network, share your knowledge and experiences with women in agriculture, and encourage them to pursue their goal and ambition. So you have to educate yourself, develop skills, because nowadays with this changing climate, you should continually develop skills and be able to help women in agriculture by building their resilience capacity for them to keep their harvest intact and then to increase their income. And at how to empower African women in agriculture. As you know all, in Africa, around 80% of women work the field, use agriculture as a way to survive. And raising awareness is important to empower women in Africa, especially in Africa, there's still those spiritual mothers that say that if there is a changing climate, probably God are mad at us, etc. Or so it's important to raise awareness about this changing climate that are affecting their crops, they are affecting their daily life, and then support education and training. As women are in the agricultural sector, most of them are not educated. And when it comes to financial support or access to finance, more often many organizations use microfinance program, and then as they don't know how to read, how to write, it's a challenge for them to access to those finance. Promote economic opportunity, connect African women in agriculture. This is very important, especially to connect women in agriculture, because they can share ingenious knowledge on adaptation. You know, with this, as I said before, changing climate, we need to adapt. And then when you connect women together, they can have this discussion about indigenous knowledge on adaptation, how they use to adapt to the changing climate, example for water management, etc. And in Africa, again, furthermore, advocate for policy change, promote land rights and resources, equality for African women in agriculture, support technology adoption. In Africa, the great problem is digitalization because many African women in agriculture don't have access to information. More information are available via technology and they need to know how to get involved in. And at the last, I put invest in research. Nowadays, we are talking about seed resistance because of the climate change. And then when you invest in research, you can probably suggest to women who work in the field which kind of seed to use in which season, in which pattern of the day, etc. And some steps that can help you achieve objectives in this
Is it
webinar.
possible? Is it possible to make its full screen?
Full screen. Okay. It's okay now?
I don't see it full screen yet. But yeah, if it doesn't work, it doesn't work. But
okay, let me try again. Suspend. And now you can see the full screen.
no, I don't see it, but it's fine. We can continue then. Maybe if it can be something.
You can zoom in, like we can zoom in to read what's on the screen.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Now you can see the full screen.
No, we don't.
Oh, I'm so sorry. So
no worries. You can continue. It's fine.
yes, okay. And for people who are trying to develop projects on how to empower women in agriculture, the first step is to define the problem. And when you are defining the problem, please try to be more specific. And more often, projects that are locally led are most effective than projects that are nationally led or regional led. And the second one is to share best practice. You have educating yourself, you have learned and developed more skills. So share those practices that you have learned so far. Engage with experts, invite experts to discuss on the topic and allow attendees to ask questions. Highlight resources, encouraging collaboration and encourage action. There you must take action to promote gender equality and improve rural women's status and provide resources and support. Now I'm gonna talk about a little bit about my work. My work has been so far on empowering women smallholder farmers in North Kivu through advocacy. The three front of my work has been focusing on land rights, access to financial services and agricultural input, decision-making power. And since women are numerous in agriculture, we might think gender equality in agriculture is a misguided topic. However, let's look at the issue they face, which make us think gender equality in this field is huge. Empowering women smallholder farmer has a key for food security. So small farm produce 80% of the world food, and 75% of the DRC women work in agriculture. Women farmers in the region often have poor harvest, not because of the weather or the soil quality, but because of the complex web of law, policies, programs, and customs that puts them at the disadvantaged position. So in that region, closing the gender gap requires 3 steps. The first is land rights. So when you are trying to brainstorming your project, please identify the problems, the major problem in a specific region that you want to resolve to achieving, to closing the gender gap in agriculture in that area. For me, I started by the land rights. And when I'm talking about land rights, I use the advocacy skill, and we propose a joint land registration with husband and wife's names and photos on certificate to formalize women's rights for farmland. Such reforms increase land investment, especially by women, and has advanced DRC women land rights these 3 years. And land is just the beginning. Women in North Kivu lack access to fertilizer, seed, mechanical equipment, and agricultural extension services that would teach them to better farming practices. And armed conflict and unequal access to credit for import exacerbate this equality. When it comes to lack access to fertilizer, the problem here is the soil quality. As we know, with this changing climate as well, we are facing a poor soil quality because of we are depending on pesticide, and at a specific time, we come to see that the soil has lost its power to carry more seed. And the third component of my project was the trickiest one, is decision-making power. Women play a critical role in agriculture and food system, yet their role and power in decision-making in all spheres are often limited by structural, institutional, and social cultural barriers. Women's agency, and specifically their degree of participation in household and institutional decision-making, is a critical component of achieving women economic empowerment. When women have control over how they spend their income, they invest a far greater percentage of it on their families than men do. Their spending helps improve education, health, and nutrition outcomes from the whole family. While many agricultural programs invest in women economic empowerment, there is no clear understanding that women's access to income necessarily correlates with their control over how they spend that income. And so far, the project aimed to empower women farmers, encourage and guide further action. So at the end of the project, to make sure that to track our work and trying to see if our project has been effective, we designed a specific tool called Women Smallholder Farmer Empowerment Index. And this tool looks like this, and is an aggregate index reported at the national level based on individual level data collected by interviewing men and women within the same household. This tool assesses the degree to which respondents are empowered in 5 domains of empowerment in agriculture. It shows the percentage of empowered women and the percentage of the domain they succeed. These domains are decision about agricultural production, access to decision-making power about productive resources, control of use of income, leadership in the community, and at the end, the time allocation. And to conclude, I will say that empowering women and ensuring gender equality should be a much discussed subject among many political leaders, civil rights activists, and women's associations. In agriculture, particularly, women face daunting constraints that significantly limit their potential and enmesh them into a gender productivity trap. Women empowerment is considered as a prerequisite to achieving global food security. Gender systems, however, are diverse and complex. The nature and extent of gender inequity and the conditions necessary to empower women vary across countries, communities, and regions. The study of different gender systems is thus fundamental to capture cross-cultural variation in gender-specific needs and constraints to effectively address gender gaps. Thank you.
Thank you so much for the presentation.
Yes, please go ahead.
Okay, thank you so much for the presentation. I really jotted down a lot. I think it would be helpful for a lot of us who would be working on starting up a project, especially with our competition, members of our committees that are interested in setting up women in agriculture projects. I think now we'll take questions. If you have any question for Omel, please signify, or you can drop it in the chat.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Ormel. I saw in the chat a question, if it's possible to get a presentation from IAAS.
Yeah, sure.
I see, great. I can send it out later then. Yeah, for the rest, I was wondering, so you said, for example, the access to land rights, access to inputs and decision-making power. What do you think the role of young people is in engaging in that? Because I think it's also a lot of policy that has to be changed and a mindset of older people. So what do you see the role of young people is in that to make a change?
Yeah, thank you. First of all, I think that young people are a great voice for their community. So they can first use their voice, and young people don't want to do research. So I really encourage young people to do researches in their community, produce papers. So when you come to a local government, you should have evidence that this is a problem that my community is facing now, and then look, this is what to do. More often, young people go to local government or to the national level without any proof, any evidence. So this is a kind of not trusting thing that the local government could put it outside and then no, we can. Youth are just leading action with no sense, because when you come to the national level, local level, many people are researchers, many people have their agenda and their priority. So when you come up with things that, oh, I see in my community that women are reap meager harvest than last month or last 6 months. So what's the evidence that you can bring in the table to convince them? I think that young people lack proof and they don't want to make research to, I think the research is a problem, the credibility, if I can say that.
See, Claire, and I think, yeah, a very, very good point. Also for us to reflect on, to research well the impact we are going to make, or to showcase what's not going right. And we're all students, so we should be all capable of making that. So I think good advice. Yeah, thanks a lot for the presentation.
Welcome. Bali Kids, hello. Do you have any question for me?
No. I mean, we said it all. I don't.
Yeah.
Nice. You know each other also via the Ban Ki-moon Center?
Yes.
Nice.
We have been together at the program and at COP27. Yeah.
Great. Nice that they made it all possible. Yeah, great. All right.
All right, thank you, Omio. I think we can go ahead with the second presentation. I would like to introduce our next speaker. Thomas, please.
Yes, I will share my screen.
Okay, thank you. Okay. I think you can show her picture before I start her here. Okay, our next speaker for today is Bilkis Saluddin Ibrahim. She is the head human capacity and corporate social responsibility for Green Republic Farm Limited. Bilkis is a young Nigerian social activist that is passionate about climate change, causes, impact, and solution, especially how it links to security and peace in the African region. For over 6 years, she has actively led social campaigns and mobilized young leaders within her circle of influence, mobilizing hundreds of young people in Nigeria to organize cleanups, community sensitization, support gender equality, understand policies, and drive government engagement. Motivated by linkages between climate change, food security, and peace building, Bilkis co-founded Green Republic Farms Limited, where she currently heads the Human Resource and Corporate Social Responsibility Department. She also leads the Green Women Initiative for the company, where they have empowered and provided decent jobs for over 50 women in the community where the farm is located, Olukuta Community, Ibadan, OAU, Oyo State, Nigeria. With her style of storytelling and digital communication, Bilkis campaigns and projects, both digital and on-site. With her style of storytelling and digital communication, Bilkis campaigns and projects, both digital and on-site, has led to many young people picking an interest in climate communication, peace building, and leveraging the power of digital advocacy. Today, she'll be sharing her experience with us and talking about her role as a female farmer. Bilkis, you can have the floor, ma.
All right, thank you so much, Brenda, for that beautiful introduction. And thank you so much, Armin, for giving us, the statistic part of it. But I'm going to be coming from the angle of on-ground experience and what it has been for me as a farmer here in Nigeria. So in 2019, before 2019, my partner has been working a lot of time in terms of going into agricultural sector, but they've had a lot of losses because they were not doing climate smart agriculture. And, they've been affected by weather, they've been affected by, because they didn't have a good relationship with the communities and what have you. In 2019, late 2019, I came into the picture and I was able to bring about my own idea and experience as a climate activist and what I have seen people do, in terms of sustainable agriculture and, improving the food system. We started climate smart agriculture practices in 2020. And since then, it's actually been tremendous change for us at the farm, at Green Republic Farms, as well as a lot of money. Because if you want to go into climate smart agriculture and you want to do it in large scale, it requires a lot of money. If you're looking at my screen right now, if you see my background picture, that's actually one of our drone shots from the farm. And that's how large the farm is. We currently operate on over 7 acres of land in Oyo State. And we have a couple of other acres that we're going to be using for our greenhouse transition in the next 4 months. Why am I saying all of this foundational story? It's for you to understand that in life, as we grow as human, there is room for transitioning. And the reason why I'm starting at this point is because I'm talking to students. I've been a student, I've been in school. I'm a graduate of communications. I did not go to school to study agriculture or whatever related to it. I never even knew I'll be in this space right now talking to you. I never imagined it. So, we just need to accept transitioning. I do not have a presentation for you, but I have highlighted key things I'm going to be pointing at, and I have 2 images that would be on my screen all through my speech. All right, so I want to inspire you because I understand that you guys are going for a competition. You're all going into a backing a baby and another lady at her back. So those women are women from our community. And that brings me to my first point on gender. At Green Republic Farms, we try as much as possible to be gender inclusive in terms of our work. Sometimes there are technicalities, there are things that we realize that, okay, the male gender or this person is an expert in and this person is not an expert in. So sometimes when you talk about gender equality, it's not just about giving women the room. We give the women that have the experience, understood? Like, okay, Thomas is very, very good with research. Balkis is very, very good in communications. But there's this role where they're saying they want women to fill the space and they want Balkis to take it. I do not have experience in it. So what's the point, right? So we try as much as possible to have an inclusive system for everyone at the farm. So these women that you're looking at on the first image, they're called our harvesters. So at Green Republic Farms, 7 acres of land is large. That's fast. So imagine that you're harvesting on 7 acres of land. That is a lot. And that means we are employing a lot of women to do the job. So they do this job and they get paid per each of the sack or baskets that they're able to harvest for us in a day. Currently, we are harvesting minimum of 2 times in a week and maximum of 3 times in a week. That is a lot already. So imagine that you have that coming in every day and you have some naira or dollars in your account. That's something. And another thing is we also try to include them in some of our trainings whenever we can, because these women, as much as they're community women, they also have their businesses they are doing. They also have something that they're already doing before we came into the picture, right? But they feel this is different. The farming system we brought to them is so different. They were so amazed and they want to be part of it. So it's always very exciting to have them at the farm. There are challenges, definitely. However, we still have the good part to this woman. In the second image, you see me doesn't mean that we should be untidy or not clean or whatever. We have different uniforms for different days. So when you come to the farm, you feel there are children in this image, being in a community, because I realized that I like to say the project is going to be on farming. You need to understand inclusiveness of agriculture and farming in communities, especially in rural communities. This is our nursery. The second image is a picture of us inside the nursery. So the nursery is where we grow all of our seeds before we transplant them into our open field. So that is where, the old plants go, and that is the image you're seeing on my background. These children, whenever they're back from school, they come to the farm, and there was a day I met them at the farm, they were harvesting. And I had to call their mothers and tell them that we do not at any point tolerate child labor at Green Republic Farms. I love the fact that the children are always around. However, they can sit down on the tree, under the tree rather, they can, you can observe around, but I do not want them doing any form of technical work or harvesting. And that is when we now transition into, whenever these children are at the farm, let us bring them into the nursery and teach them some of the practices that we're doing, at a very, very young age. At the same time, even with the harvest, sometimes I take them myself, within the farm to see how, okay, this is how you harvest pepper. This is pepper. This is where you identify a good vegetable. This is where you identify, this is, we put all of those things in their mindset. So at a very young age, they already have the opportunity that you and I did not have, growing up in a farm. So this is why I'm using this image as a description of how it is important for us to accept everyone in that community and make them be part of the process. Another thing I want to point out is community is key. We have a very good relationship with the head of the community that sometimes he just calls to check up on us and I would not see you at the farm these days. That's because we needed that person to be our eyes, our nose, our mouth, if anything happens in that community. Currently in Nigeria, some years back, we witnessed clashes between Fulani herdsmen and the farmers. And we do not want that to happen to us again, because we were also affected during this period that we had to leave a couple of acres of land in a particular state in Nigeria and transition into this community. So it was very important for us that we establish a strong relationship with the community members. It was also very important that we are not coming with new people. So I'm not bringing Brenda, Thomas, or Millie, everybody, and say, okay, let's go and farm in this community. You guys are our employees. No, we brought the people in that community, the young men, the young women, the women there, everybody, we brought them together. The parts where we can train them, we train them. The parts they already know, we all learn together and we're working together. But we also have expertise that are outside of this community that are working with us. But first off, you make them feel comfortable. You make them understand that they're priority. You make them understand that we love them. You make them understand that this community is giving us value and we're happy to exchange the value by employing members of the community to work with us as long as they're willing to learn, improve on their skills, and everything gets better. Another strategy that we use is our Green Women Initiative, where we support these women, in terms of maybe enhancing the educational system for their children. And also we have our CSR project. This year, we're going to be doing 3 key CSR projects in Lagos and Oyo State to support the community that we're serving, so that it doesn't look like we're making money. No, we are a social enterprise. We are creating impact. We're not just making money. So if you have all of these things ticked in your list, no matter how little or how small, community engagement is very, very important. And it also helps you to build a diverse team that are very experienced, because you're not coming and saying, this is what I want us to do. You're coming and saying, I think we can do this. And people are able to bring in their opinion on you. Our target, so one of the strategies that we also use that I think might work for some of you is identifying the market need. For us at Green Republic Farms, we started with pepper, which is habanero. We went into we grew rather into tomato production. We grew into cabbage, cucumber, what have you. And now we currently have all of these things, including bell pepper, that we are farming. Why did we identify this? We understand the fact that majority of these things come from the northern part of the country, which means that a lot of emissions are being generated before it gets down to the south or the southwest where we are. So we decided that why don't we also support the market? I'm not going to say take the market, support the market, so that we can have more farmers who are producing this vegetable in the southwest, and it's closer to the market. So we are cutting down on our emissions in terms of transportation of our farm produce. So if you're able to also identify this, it's going to go a long way for you. Yes, as I mentioned, I've been talking local. You need to think local, especially when you want to do a large scale, or you want to do a sort of farming that you want to be selling, and not the garden one that you just want to be eating direct from your garden farm, right? It's very, very important that you think local. At the same time, it's also very, 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 very important that you leverage on digital platforms to tell your stories. Storytelling is key for us, and we take it as one priority at Green Republic Farms. We do high quality content. We have drones, cameras. We mobilize these experts to the farm to take shoot of our content, of our farm produce, of our workers, so that we can tell the behind the scenes stories. So you don't necessarily have to visit Green Republic Farms before you can understand how large or what we are doing. You may following us on Instagram or LinkedIn or our website or Twitter, you already have an idea of what we're doing. So this way, no matter how small your project is, as long as you are able to infuse storytelling into it, it will help you enhance. It will also help you, to leverage on large scaling. And sometimes you see a lot of organizations who are into donation, or they want to support your project. They kind of ask you, are you on social media? Are you on this platform? Do you have this? Do you have that? It doesn't cost you much, no matter how big or how small your project is. Then I noted this, that agriculture is very, very important. And ever since I've entered into it in 2019, I have fell in love with it. So keen that sometimes I'm just thinking in my head that, oh my God, I hope I'm not going to lose my connection in growing into communications, the professional way that I really wanted to. But I've come to realize that all of these things can actually be merged together, and it has been working for me. Agriculture is very important. Food is very, very important. As Urmili stated, sometimes policies affect a lot of us that are farmers. And sometimes there are policies that should be put in place to enable us reach our full potential, to serve the market, produce more farm produce for people. Okay, so let me share. This very farm is actually affected by the cash flow crisis we're currently having in Nigeria. So they recently introduced new Naira notes, which is not so much in circulation. So that automatically affects our business, because by the time we take farm produce to the market, people don't really have enough cash at hand to come and buy them. So it makes the produce stay longer at the market. And then when you say use alternate channels like mobile banking to transfer and what have you, is that the network is not going or anything in between. So it is always very important that government policies favor people, and not just people. We have a lot of sectors. We have the educational sector, the medical sector, the agricultural sector is also very good, and it's very, very important. So I'm just going to say this on a very lighter note, that we should not, as young people, be afraid to upskill, to ask for help whenever we need to, and to collaborate. Collaboration is one of the key things that I have seen a lot of us not doing. And we don't because we want this thing to revolve around us. Collaboration is very, very important. If you identify in your association somebody that is thinking of a similar thing as your project that you want to submit for the competition, why not collaborate together? When two heads meet, it becomes like, ooh. But when you're the only one, you're even more stressed. That's the fact. So I want you guys to look into collaboration, look into how your projects can enhance policy change, maybe in a particular community or in a particular country that you are, or probably advance an existing policy. Look at how you can introduce more climate smart agriculture. It might not be expensive. Part of the issues we have currently now is most of our farm inputs are very, very expensive. And we should do it, it shouldn't be, because it's also going to be affecting the sales price, right? So all of these things are interconnected. I wish I could do like a sketch, like a diagram for you to have a picture of what I'm saying. But in the end, don't be afraid to upskill. Don't be afraid to learn. Don't be afraid to ask for help when you need to. Don't be afraid to collaborate. Don't be afraid to partner when you can. And always remember that we as young people, we have the room, we have the chairs, we have the table to change the narrative when it comes to, bridging the gender gap in agriculture and in every other sector. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was a very nice presentation. I think someone said it was inspiring. So thank you so much, Bilkis, for the presentation. I don't know if any of us have any question for her.
Yeah, thanks a lot, Malikis. I really enjoyed also your input on thinking about what's needed to making also business case. That's also one of the things that the competition is about, to see how you can find the spot there. So I was wondering if you can elaborate a bit on that, how you found out a part of the market where you thought, I can really come up with something new here and at the same time be as inclusive as possible.
Thomas, are you trying to ask me if I can explain how we're able to identify the market?
Yes.
Okay, so as I said earlier, we realized that the junk of this habanero, pepper, tomatoes, bell pepper, and all of that, the junk of them come from the northern part of Nigeria. And we needed to bridge that gap. As much as we say that we practice climate smart farming, we, on our open field, we also want to be able to cut down emission on transportation. So we do not, as of now, we do not intend to transport from the southwest where we are to the north, but we are trying to control, and support the southwest market. So instead of people relying on pepper coming from the north, they can easily rely on pepper within the southwest. right? So you're farming closer to the market. You're farming closer to the people, and it's even easier for your for anybody to come to your farm and pick up their orders and go and sell them or use them at home. So that is how we're able to like identify our market. However, I need to also emphasize that we're not the only person farming in the Southwest. We're not the only people doing this. But the reason why we have taken this decision is to be able to cut down emission on transportation. So your reason might be different. Our is this. And we also understand the value of farming, very, very importantly, closer to the market.
I see. Thanks a lot. And yeah, great you saw that opportunity there and could create such a beautiful business there. Nice. Thanks a lot. Very inspiring talks, Balikis and Omin.
Okay, I would like to also ask a question. You talked about using storytelling to share your story and mentioned leveraging on digital platforms to tell your story. So I would like to ask, for someone who is starting out like a small business, how can they tell their stories? Like maybe they do not have tools like drones and all that. How can they go ahead to tell their stories? And I also want to ask how you're able to solve the issue of, you talked about the problems that are faced by farmers currently. As a Nigerian, I understand that issue where you talked about the currency problem. So how are you currently tackling that? And also how can someone who is maybe facing a similar issue of maybe not having market at the moment, how can they find a solution to how they can sell off their products?
All right, thank you so much, Brenda. I'll answer your first question first. So, I mean, we do not have, currently, I mean, we're at the verge of purchasing. We do not have our own drone, and we have a cinematographer that we were working with. So it comes with his camera, drones, and take shots. That's it. And before this, we use our phones. And even in between this, we use our phones. So regardless of there's a drone or there's a camera or whatever, we can use our phones to take pictures or share moments from the farm very, very easily. Like, it's so flexible. So it doesn't, that's why I said, doesn't require a huge budget. From the comfort of your home, from the comfort of your farm, you can tell your story without having a Canon camera or a Nikon camera. You can use your phone. You don't need a drone. As you grow, that's what transition is. And that's what people really want to see. They want to see the foundational story of how you're growing. So by the time you start, sharing little pictures from your phones at your farm or at your work, that is related to what you're doing, you share them little, and you start seeing transition. Oh my God, oh, this person's Instagram page is now looking, wow, it's now, people are amazed and they're able to follow the story through. So you need to be able to tell the story all through from the beginning. And it's also very, very good, even for businesses that are just starting out, because a lot of businesses have started out far before now, but they do not understand the importance of storytelling and documenting their process. So you get to see that you just see some people, it's just like you seeing a completed building, right, without seeing the foundation. But there was actually a foundation, but the people building it did not care to take pictures or document it. That's it. But there was actually a foundational process. I mean, there would definitely be. So it's even good if you're just starting out now to leverage on things like this to be able to tell your story at the earliest stage. And it helps people connect and also even recommend some things to you. Another thing, the second question. So currently, how we're solving this issue is first we have to cut down our price. I'm not gonna lie to you. We have to cut down our price for the open market because we supply the open market strongly than the corporate market. And because we had to shut down, and the reason why we had to cut down the prices is because now there are a lot of produce at the market that is not moving. So your distributor would tell you that, my partner has this thing, or he has not even sold it, so you can't tell me this is the price. You know, the price is now going down because of the Naira note value. But what we're still trying to do is we're still trying to keep the market. We're not being harsh. We're not, I mean, we understand that there are downfall in businesses, and we understand that there are upliftments moments in businesses. So we see this as a major shake for us right now. But I mean, we're not going to eat all of the pepper at the farm. We can't eat them. It's a 7 acres of land. We have to sell them. And sometimes we even find it very difficult. So for example, now Brenda ordered 1 ton of habanero last week, and Brenda is now ordering 300 kg of habanero this week. That's a very crazy match. So we have more pepper at the farm that is waiting to be harvested. So it's just us thinking business. Now we have to cut down on price. And the funniest thing is our farm is not currently solar powered. We run on generator. And Brenda, you know how much fuel is in Nigeria right now. That is for running of the farm. Not to talk of the van to take this produce to the market. So right now, I mean, I wish I can, I'm talking to the president of Nigeria right now, and he can understand the pain we're going through currently. Everybody is going, not even go to the market and buy pepper. So we had to cut down on our prices to accommodate everybody during this period, because we believe that this period shall pass. So my advice would be, when you are in business and you see change happening, positive or negative, you have to have a projection. We had a projection of our sales. We have projection of our prices. We never imagined that this was going to happen. We never saw it coming. So it's not even, you and I know that we didn't even know that this Naira nothing was a thing, right? And it just came, and then fuel scarcity went crazier. Now we had to go back to our drawing board and see how we can continue to supply the market, maybe at a cheaper rate, and still, everybody's still smiling at the end of the day, but not as much as we were smiling before. So we just need to learn how to adjust to changes when they happen strategically, and not you being on the loose end. Not you being on the loose end. Yeah, thank you. I hope I answered your question very well, Brenda.
Yes, you did. Thank you. I don't know if there's anyone who has questions for Bilkis, or if you have a question for Omel, you can go ahead and ask now.
So I just have something to add about your project. A quick advice about how to design very well your project. So you must pay attention on your indicators. When you are drafting your indicators, make sure that you are in the road of gender equality. Your indicators prove really that your project is increasing the number of women that will be touched in your project. So I invite you to pay attention in your indicator. If you want to know that your project will really address the problem of gender equality, so you need to look to your indicator. So given this, you can also track your indicator while you are drafting your project. First of all, when you are trying to design, for example, if your project is about to design a tool or something like that, make sure that your indicators is included in what you mean, what you want to achieve. And with this, your conclusion or the people that you're gonna touch will be more women, and they will be empowered. So empowerment are reflected in your indicator. You should work on that very seriously.
Thank you for the question. I guess there are no questions, so I think we can go ahead and round up the program. So I really appreciate your presence, Omil and Bilikis. It was a really wonderful time having you both around, sharing your experience, talking about how to set up projects and also how you are handling your business as an agricultural, like a farmer, a woman in the agricultural sector. So I really appreciate your time. Thank you very much for being on this platform to share your stories with us. I hope that we've been able to learn one or two things and we have some take homes that we can implement in our projects and things we can also implement in our communities and also youths in the agricultural sector. So thank you so much. I also want to appreciate everyone for coming around. We have Tanjimo, the IAAS One Health coordinator with us, and also others who were also able to be present, Aman, Belinda, Elise, thank you so much. And also Thomas for this opportunity to be able to host this program. Thank you so much. So, Thomas, I don't know if you have anything to add.
Brenda. I wanted to know, do we have access to the recording?
Well, I
Okay,
can share it.
Yeah, you'll make it available.
All right, thank you.
Nice. Yeah, and also thank you a lot, Brenda, for coordinating this and making the Women in Agriculture project a reality inside IAAS. So yeah, looking very much forward to this weekend when all the projects are submitted. The deadline is the 11th, and next week we will announce the winners. So looking forward to that, and yeah, all IAAS members. Please think about a project with these stories in mind of today. I think very good advice is to improve your project too.
So thank you, Thomas. I think we can go off the call now. Thank you so much for coming on board. Have a lovely day.
Yeah, thank you. Have a good day.